Hey everyone, it's Chris Gorgoroso again from Element AMS here to give you an update on all things product. Obviously, we have a new feature that's coming out. That's part of the reason why I'm here. So I'm really excited to be in your inbox to give you the latest and greatest. So give me about 5 minutes of your time and I'll give you as quick of a demo as I can on some of the things that are about to drop for you and your customers. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so here we are. We just navigated over to the admin section of the portal. You heard a little bit about that on the last email that you've gotten in your inbox from Element from us with the latest product updates. So if you can see over here, I've navigated from the member portal over to administering on behalf of ABC Company. Here you have a company profile. You can have the company membership information if there's one available to them, payment methods, invoices, and of course, we've dropped this component, the company roster. This component also can be as big or as little as you want. It's a component that can be resized. It also works in mobile as well. You get to define the columns that get displayed for the company roster. And then you have the ability to add new members or not show the add new member button. And define the fields that get presented to them when they are adding those new members. If they have required attributes, you can require them as well. And then when you're editing them, you have a completely different screen that you might have different attributes or some attributes that you want to be informative for them to see as they're making those edits. And of course, the ability to remove those members from the roster if you choose to give them the ability to do so. Also, for those that have large rosters, they might need to make edits in bulk. Obviously, you're not going to want them to edit last names and emails in bulk, so you have to pick which fields that they want, that you would like them to edit in bulk. You can specify that, and it has its own view, as well as being able to remove in bulk if you need to. Also, the search goes through any of the text that you might have in there. So I'm just going to look in the status and I bring all my active members there, and I can see that easily and quickly find all the members that you have in your roster. All right, so let's take a look at what it looks like to set this up. I'm going to switch over to a different tab here, and here is the actual setup for the roster we just seen. I called the roster organizational members. It's asking me which community I'm in, which object or which table of data are we pulling from. So in Salesforce, contact is obviously one of the primary people table of data for companies or organizations. So I pointed to the contact, and the only thing that we need to know is, oh, okay, what's the company field? So that way we know how to filter that that roster down for the person or for the company that you're administering on behalf of, if you are the member walking in. And then how do we want to filter those? Do you want everybody in your contact database that's underneath the company, or is it just a subset? And here we define a subset. We want it active to be true. So obviously only those that have an active where the value is checked is going to be pulled in. And what do we want to do when we remove those individuals? So you saw that remove button in there. Do you really just want to delete it? Probably not, right? We want to save that data. So what is it that we want to do to remove them from that filter criteria? And obviously we're going to move it from active to being false. Down here, we're configuring the roster table. We get to select all the available fields that are on that object and some of the related fields. So tables of data that are related to them, and we get to drag them and pull them into the table. As I bring drag and drop new fields over to this table, you'll see it just gets added directly to it. I'll remove it so you see it one more time. Look at that row 11 down here at the bottom. Boom, gone. So it's just dynamic as it's building out, and then you have the ability to update the label that's in there, so the table header, the column can change. You can define if you want to show it in the table or maybe not. Maybe I don't want to show this in the table and I want them to only see it when they're editing or creating something new. We can require it. We can make it read only in the edits scenario. show and create, show and edit, and then of course that group editable function. So a lot that you can do here. It's very flexible in the way that you define how they can interact with these rosters and get the right information back to your organizations and the information that you're presenting to them. So what are some creative ways that we're already implementing with this tool? Pretty neat because you love building out new functionality. You have an idea of how it's going to be used, but it's amazing when people come up with new creative ways to using it. So I'm hopping over to another environment here where we have another admin portal. And so I'm going to go back and just show you that this is your typical admin portal. This is the same type of roster that we showed before, a little bit different of a layout. It's a little bit bigger, as I discussed earlier. But what they needed to do is present information and allow their chapter administrators to download information that's in Element, that's in the database that they're in their AMS. So they want to present that information to those state chapters. And so what they did is they created a new filtering mechanism and shows a number of different rosters that have different attributes, different filters, in different ways that they can pull that data. So they want to be able to show all different ways of viewing the chapter members and how their membership, their national member, whether or not they are inactive or expired or grace with the national organization. They also want to be able to show them their state certified chapter members as well as those that went to the conference. And so this is a very creative way of how they're getting that information out to them. And so what they're going to end up doing and what we're doing in the product as a part of a future upgrade is having the ability to hide and remove the different ways that you can interact with this environment. So this will only be download, those buttons go away, the bulk selection goes away, and in the edit, they're actually going to keep that and specify specific attributes that they'll be able to update for the organization. So already new and creative ways of being used. So I'm really excited about that. The last thing that I want to touch on is what is coming. Okay, so I'm going to hop over here to our Figma file. This is obviously a design, but this is actively being developed and is in the works. It's one thing to manage your company rosters from keeping your data up to date. It's another thing to present it when they are interacting with the with your clients the most, right? So when they interact with the association, that's when we need them to update their company roster. And how do we do that in a way that makes it very easy for them to do it and it doesn't seem like this onerous task? So what we're doing is building out a member join or a member renewal experience that allows them to update the roster. And as they're making those updates, it's going to show them what's been added, what's been edited, what's been removed, if there are any potential duplicates. And those actually become filters that allows you to filter down on the different, whether or not it's been added or edited, removed, or duplicate. Once you're finished with that, you can click on next and it'll ask you with the new roster to assign the membership. This is the example of having an organization that's buying on behalf of the individuals. So in this membership, I am the company administrator. I have a whole bunch of people that work at our company that are going to have membership. Not everybody, but a select few. And so what I'm doing here is assigning the appropriate membership type to the individuals inside of my roster. And as I'm assigning that, it's adding to the selection summary. Okay. Now for those larger organizations that need to do this in bulk, we have a bulk assigned membership where they can obviously select several members and then assign one membership product to them. It gets added to the selection summary. And once they're done and they click on next, it creates an invoice and they're off to checkout. So a full self-service functionality is what we're aiming to do. Okay, so that's it. That's our quick preview. I know it took a little bit longer than I'd hoped. I really wanted to get that in 5 minutes, but there's a lot to show you. But hopefully it shows you the flexibility and some of the functionality that's going to be dropping here in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So if you want a deeper dive, you want to play around with it, you want to take a look at it, or just talk to me a little bit about some of the problems that you're seeing with roster management and how they are not being addressed, or anything at all, just want to chat shop, please reach out to me. We're going to put my Calendly inside of the email. I've got my LinkedIn profile. Reach out to me any way you want. Email's chris@elementams.com. Thank you for your time. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.